States. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So it's very
I've heard of
important.
it.
It's very important that we realize how we were able to get open carry. And that's because the people stood up for it, and that's very important for our republic. In fact, the beginning of the Constitution starts off with "We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. Do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America." I want everybody to understand that because we stand for something, and because we are able to be heard as the people, then we can make change happen in our state and in our nation. But when we do nothing, when we just stand by and let our government run amok and take away our rights, that destroys liberty. That is what the problem is. That is the enemy of the people. Never allow yourselves to stand by idly while others take away your rights. Always stand up. Proclaim that you have rights. Tell them that you wish to have them respected. And let's see what happens. And if they are truly obedient, if they truly honor their oath, they will respect those rights. Anyway, I have a special guest this morning, Pastor Terry Holcomb. He's here to give us some of our information about what we managed to accomplish this legislative session. So everybody give him a applause.
Let me start out by thanking y'all for coming this morning. The 84th session, by every stretch of the imagination, was the biggest gains that we've seen in the Second Amendment realm in 140 years. And it's not just about guns, and we're gonna see that today because we're gonna cover a lot of things. But before I get into the presentation, I have a personal issue that I like to discuss when I do these seminars. First of all, I want to thank y'all. OCT Houston for sure has been heavily involved. I would say you're probably one of the more organized chapters of OCT. Y'all stay extremely active and you stay very knowledgeable, and I appreciate that. I don't believe open carry would have passed without Open Carry Texas. And so I do thank you for your work. One of the problems I do have, however, is we have another organization out there that is boldly and unashamedly, with no integrity whatsoever, taking credit for the work that the grassroots do. Texas State Rifle Association, TTSRA, has said that they got open carry passed. I predicted back in February at the big GRAA event on the Capitol, you can go YouTube it, you'll hear me say it, I predicted the Texas State Rifle Association would come in and try and take credit for the work we did. They didn't support open carry, we drug them into it.
That's right.
And
kicking and screaming.
we're going to look at some things that you'll see the statistical numbers, you'll know that the grassroots accomplished this, and that Texas Carry led the way in a historical session in the 84th legislature. So with that being said, we're going to get started. And I think it's important that we understand that we're working with community and law enforcement and CHL holders to try and educate people like we're doing today. Law enforcement needs to be educated on the law. There's no question about that. We believe through education and relationships, working with the community, that we can see open carry come to Texas and it be a very smooth transition. We believe it'll be a success. 44 states already have it, it's not a big deal, and we believe Texas citizens are just as capable, if not more than capable, of exercising our God-given rights. Texas Carry is being a beacon of light through education and relationship building, and the things that we're going to cover today, we're going to cover knife preemption. What is it, and how does it impact you? We're going to cover 30-06 state preemption. It's better termed unlawful exclusion of a CHL holder by a governmental entity. We're going to cover campus carry. and we're going to cover open carry. Now before we get into this, I do want to give the NRA and the Texas State Rifle Association kudos. They definitely had a major hand in getting campus carry paid, and I want to give credit where credit is due. For sure, they put a ton of work into campus carry, and I'm grateful for it, and I appreciate the work that they did on that. Okay, so knife preemption. It's very important to understand that all the laws that I'm going to cover today have effective dates, and they're very important. I don't want anybody to go get arrested because they do something before an effective date goes into effect, okay?
Right.
Knife preemption goes into effect September 1st of 2015. So HB 905, it's commonly called the knife preemption bill. What is knife preemption? It's very important. Knife preemption is displacement of local municipality and/or counties' knife laws by Texas knife laws, the state. The state is assuming sole authority over all knife laws. This was added as part of Local Government Code 229, which we often refer to as state preemption. Okay? So what does HB 905 state preemption say? This is the existing code, and when you see a word that is underlined here, that word was added to the existing code. Firearms, air guns, knives, and explosives. Notwithstanding any other law, including section 43.002 of this code and chapter 251 Agriculture Code, a municipality may not, that's important, adopt any regulations relating to the transfer, private ownership, keeping, what does that mean?
Owning.
Not just owning, keeping it on your person, where you carry, how you carry. Okay? Transportation, licensing, or registration of firearms, air guns, and knives. Knives was added to the existing preemption. This was a big deal.
It is.
This was a huge victory. And I do want to give kudos to Representative Dutton, who has been a knife laws champion in the legislature. We were this close. We were this close to eliminating all knife laws. Not having it, as it should be. But we had a Senate Democrat, Hitler Whitmire, who got mad at a House Democrat Dutton. The bill was unopposed in the House. It passed unanimously on the consent calendar, and it was set to do the same thing in the Senate. And Whitmire got mad at Dutton and pulled the bill. It would have passed unanimously. We expect that'll get done next session, which will be really good. The same thing in section 236.002, notwithstanding any other law or agriculture, a county may not adopt regulations relating to the transfer of private ownership, keeping, transportation, licensing, or registering of firearms, guns, or knives. It was added. Okay? Are there exceptions to knife preemption? Now let me explain this because there's a reason I put this in this section right here. Currently, with firearms, the state carves out some controls for local municipalities. Okay? Local municipalities can't regulate a CHL holder, but they can regulate firearms. They can regulate long guns because the state carved out sections that they can regulate around firearms. They didn't do that for knives. They gave them no room to regulate knives in any way. Where is that going to impact us the most?
San Antonio.
Courthouses. How many people have walked into a courthouse and they would not let you take your knife in? That can be no more as of September the 1st.
Or your magazines.
Okay? This is what they can do. This was the carve out that was given to them right here. Unlike firearms, there's only one carve out for local municipalities and counties. It says they can regulate the use of, subsection A does not affect the authority or municipality has under another law to regulate the use of firearms or air guns or knives in the case of insurrection. riot, or natural disaster if the municipality finds the regulations necessary to protect public health and safety. Typically that would get us a little nervous, right? Because the government doesn't have the right to disarm us. Fortunately, we have this other section that basically disallows that. It says, the exception provided in B4, which I just read, does not authorize seizure or confiscation of any firearm, air gun, or knife was added, or ammunition from an individual who is lawfully carrying or possessing the firearm, air gun, or knife. That's it. They cannot regulate knives in any other way. That's a huge, huge change that slipped right under the radar, and most of these municipalities don't know about it. Okay? Current state knife laws, I want to make sure that everyone knows what they are, okay? Because this is going to be the law of the land across the whole state of Texas. All right? Knife means any bladed hand instrument that is capable of inflicting serious bodily injury or death by cutting or stabbing a person with the instrument. A switchblade. Now I put this in here, the definition of a switchblade, but I'm not going to read it. But switchblades are legal. A lot of people don't know that as well. Okay? So what is an illegal knife? Okay? An illegal knife means this, and the way Texas Penal Code is written, it can get very confusing. Because the term illegal knife, which is in the Penal Code, would make it sound like you can't own it. Okay? We're going to talk about that. An illegal knife means a knife blade, a knife with a blade over 5 1/2 inches. A hand instrument designed to cut, stab another by being thrown. That's why tomahawks are illegal. Or Chinese stars or throwing knives, those type of things. A dagger. A dagger is a two-sided blade. A lot of people don't know that. You can walk into Academy today and you can buy one. You can buy a two-sided blade at Academy. State law says that's an illegal knife. Okay? A Bowie knife. Poor Mr. Bowie's rolling over in his grave. Why that's in there, I have no idea. A sword or a spear. That's the definition of illegal knife right there. Understanding when a knife is unlawfully possessed. Section 4602 says unlawfully carrying of weapons, a person commits an offense if the person intentionally or knowingly or recklessly carries on or about his person a handgun, illegal knife, or club if the person is not on the person's own premises or the premises under their control or in their vehicle. You can own any of those things that I said were illegal. You can carry them in your car. They don't have to be concealed. You can have them in your house. You can have them on your property. What you can't do is have those things and come in here. What you can't do is have those things and go take a walk. But you can own them and you can have them in your vehicle and in your home. And traveling to and fro. So if you go to Academy and buy one, if you go straight to your car, you're fine. Okay? Ownership is not unlawful. Alright? What is the purpose of knife preemption? The purpose of knife preemption is to eliminate the patchwork of laws across the state. So in San Antonio, you couldn't have a locking blade. Now how many people in here use a knife regularly? Okay? How many of you use a blade that doesn't lock? Very unsafe.
I'm a cook, does that count?
Why in the world would San Antonio say you couldn't use a locking blade knife?
Because they can.
It's just crazy.
Because they don't want pocket knives.
San Antonio, Corpus Christi says you can't own a knife that's over 3 1/2 inches. Alright, so you could break 14 laws just traveling across the state of Texas and not even know it. And there's no possible way to keep up with all the city and county ordinances around knives. So another big issue is, and this is important, this brings the entire state in compliance with Article 1, Section 23 of the Texas State Constitution, which says the state is the only one that can regulate arms. And guess what a knife is?
turned on.
Always has been. Always will be. So we actually now have knife law, what I call constitutional knife laws in Texas. Okay? Any questions on knife preemption?
We need Luke 22:36 knife laws.
Are we gonna get a cheat sheet to carry around with us? Because I know I've seen a lot of videos, you know, when people are getting stopped and the law enforcement doesn't know the law. And to actually have a cheat sheet and show them, I mean, would that?
That's a good idea, guys. If,
Texas Carry is putting together cards with knife preemption, campus carry, and the open carry laws.
Awesome.
yeah, trust me, guys, she's right. You're gonna need to educate even law enforcement out there, okay?
She does carry a 6-inch dagger on her thigh.
Note the long jacket.
Some things are better left unsaid, Doc. That was qualified, okay? Now, let me say this, guys. Okay, I'm talking, last night I talked to a Republican club. Today I'm talking to an activist group, different audiences, okay? Be prepared when you walk into a courtroom to either leave or go to jail.
Especially if you're carrying magazines.
And if that's not something that you want to do, then you need to contact David, Val, one of the OCT top dogs, so that we can get activists in there that will. Because we're going to make them follow the law, one way or the other. And if that means that we got to show up with a knife and get arrested, then that's what that's got to mean. And we'll go down that road if necessary. Hopefully we can go visit with folks and educate folks, but if that's not going to work, then we're going to push the envelope. That's what activists do.
That's right.
We're expected to obey the law. And if we don't obey the law, we go to jail. The problem is our government doesn't think it has to obey the law. That's a problem.
True that.
And when they don't go to jail.
And they don't go to jail.
That's the biggest problem in the world.
But we have activists that are very good at what we do. We're very professional. We're very respectful. Okay? I'm not going to go in there and screaming and hollering and all that. I'm going to go in there and I'll be video and I'll very nicely and calmly and respectfully go to jail. Then I will take them to court and I will win. We always do. We're good at what we do. So if you find a courthouse and they're out there, I'm telling you, Montgomery County Courthouse #1, y'all watch them. I mean Harris County.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be a problem. Okay? So we're just going to need to deal with it as it comes up. All right, let's move on. All right, unlawful posting by a governmental entity. This is the 30-06 state preemption. Thank the Lord for Senator Donna Campbell. This was her bill. It is effective September 1st, 2015. SB 273 is the bill that passed and the governor signed. So what is unlawful exclusion of CHL holder by a governmental entity? And here we have it, the new law. Wrongful exclusion of a concealed handgun license holder, a state agency, or a political subdivision, I love POAs, of the state may not provide notice by a communication described by section 30-06 Penal Code or that's an important word right there, or by any sign expressly referring to that law to a concealed handgun license, that a license holder carrying a handgun under the authority of this chapter is prohibited from entering or remaining on premises or other place owned or leased by the governmental entity unless it's already a prohibited place that the state's defined under 4603 and 46035. Now, I'm going to explain that.
Thank you.
The reason I put the law up here is because I want people to know that I'm not forming opinions. I put the law up here and we deal with it. All right? San Antonio, and I'm going to use them a lot today because they're as tyrannical as they get in this state, okay? We need to carve them out and ship them to California. San Antonio is posting 30-06 signs on public parking garages owned by the city. That's against the law. It was against the law before this bill passed. They weren't supposed to be doing that. They're also posting other 30-06 signs on publicly owned buildings. So City Hall, no, no, no. No 30-06 sign, CHL holder can go right in there. Okay? What Senator Campbell did is now added a civil penalty to it.
Incentive.
A state agency or a political subdivision of the state that violates this law will be fined for the first offense not less than $1,000 and not more than $1,500 for the first violation, and not less than $10,000 and not more than $10,500 for the second violation. And every day that they're in violation, it's considered a new violation, and they will be fined $10,000 a day.
Yay!
Good.
So what we need y'all to do is when you find one of these places, we need you to take a picture. And we need you to send us that picture. We need the address, the picture, where it's at, and we're going to go deal with it. This is a big deal. A wrongful exclusion of a CHL holder is not enforceable. So we're talking about now dealing with law enforcement. If a government entity posts a no firearms sign in violation of this law, it is not enforceable and CHL holders can walk right past that sign. That sign means nothing. It's an unlawful sign. Any questions on exclusion of a CHL holder?
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, if most public universities are run by governing boards, like for example, Sam Houston State is run by the Texas State University System, which is a government entity because those individuals are appointed by the governor. Now, wouldn't universities that fall under these governing boards also be governmental entities?
Yeah, we're going to deal with campus carry because campus carry has its own specific language.
But I'm saying, like, wouldn't under, like you said, the unlawful exclusion, wouldn't that also kind of tie in?
It does. That is correct.
So, like, because well, you can get into campus carry later, but...
Yes, but campus carry was also granted certain provisions on things that they can do under the law. You got to remember that as well. So we'll deal with campus carry in a minute.
What would constitute, like, where do you legally draw the line between public property and where they can actually legally post the 30 hours? So for example, we just got back from our honeymoon and we were in the museum district. I saw no less than 4 30-06 signs, but they were at public places like the museums.
We'll have to deal with those things. We will have to deal with those things. And museums is a big topic of discussion. Yes, sir.
I got a question. On the 30-06 sign, does it have to be at every entrance or just the main entrance?
I have this law posted, so we'll read that here shortly. We'll read exactly what it says. That's the way I prefer to do it. Yes, sir.
Terry, how do you think government entities are going to respond to this law we're talking about?
I don't think we're going to have a problem in Houston.
Yeah.
Okay? I really don't. I think we'll be able to educate people and we'll be able to get it done. It's going to be location based on how we think they're going to respond. We expect San Antonio to completely ignore us.
Well, that specifically cuts to the heart of the question. Just put it in plain English, as you know, there's already state preemption on gun laws.
Yep.
Well, we're done here. I'm going to San Antonio
For a rally.
to go to a rally for a 20-year Air Force veteran that got arrested. When
For
he
sharing a
should've
loaded firearm.
been. Right,
Right.
I'm sure you saw it. Legally speaking, that city ordinance doesn't exist because there's a higher law that says you can't
Which is
make that.
why they've arrested how many of us up there and none of them ever go to court.
Well, get this, I talked to Edmund last night, and he said essentially it's a dance they do. They arrest the guy, they know he's not gonna get convicted of anything, but they give him real world on the spot punishment by taking him to jail, making him bond out, go through all that dance, and then when he gets to court, the judge says, you can't do this, case dismissed. But he's already gone through all the aggravation.
Trust me.
Do
You
you
can
think?
beat the rap, but you
Right.
can't beat the
So my question
ride.
is, do you think that, just based on what you've seen, do you think that certain government entities are gonna put people through that exact same song and dance
Yeah.
over this?
Okay. I'll answer this question and then we'll move to the next issue real quick. So we have a problem in Texas with governmental entities violating our rights. So we're being arrested for not breaking the law.
Right.
We've been dealing with this for over 2.5 years now. We're up over 20 arrests. We tried to get General Abbott's, when he was Attorney General, to deal with San Antonio. I'm assuming because he was in the middle of an election that he didn't see that he had time to deal with that. Nobody's gone to Paxton yet on this, right? We haven't had time, right? We were all involved in the session.
Paxton don't have time for you either, so don't worry about it.
So we're gonna go to Paxton, and we're gonna see if we can't get him to address San Antonio. But at the same time, one of Texas Carry's top priorities this session, by the way, was to get civil standing for state preemption violations. So we had a bill out there that James White filed for us that would give us the ability to take a city or municipality or governmental entity to court for violating state preemption. The bill actually passed out of committee in the House. Because we were so overwhelmed with open carry and spending most of our time and resources, I didn't get a Senate version to that bill. I do believe Senator Campbell will file this bill for us the next session.
Good.
And that's going to give Texas Carry the ability to go and file a suit against San Antonio for violating state preemption. Now, the way we're designing that is it's going to have a $5,000 penalty on it. All right, we're not trying to create a big giant lawsuit world. We're trying to drive compliance. That's what we want. We want compliance. We want a judge to say you're violating state preemption. We're fining you $5,000. Your code is now gone, your ordinance.
That's the part I want.
That's what we're going to be driving next session. That is going to be our first priority.
Do you think we're going to have to do all that?
Yes.
I'm afraid of that.
You know we are. Okay. That's something else I'm going to work with Paxton on. I want his office to look at our bill, make sure that we're good as far as the Attorney General office is concerned, and then if we can get him to sign off on the bill, we'll get that passed next session. Okay? All right. Again, please remember, take pictures if you find a 30-06 sign that's in violation of the law, send it to us, and we'll go to work on it. Okay? www.texascarry.org. Our emails are on there. You can just shoot it to us in an email, or you can find us on Facebook. Okay? Campus carry. Oh my goodness, this is horrible. I've got the law posted in here. I'm just going to talk to you about it. Okay, guys? It's very convoluted. All right. 2 effective dates. This is important. For universities, the first effective date is for major universities. It's August 1 of 2016. Second effective date is for junior colleges. It's August 1st of 2017. Please don't ask me why. Somebody must have gotten a big check in their campaign coffers to do that, because it makes no sense. Why junior colleges need that extra time. What do junior colleges got to do? Nothing. Literally. They don't have to do anything. Junior colleges don't have dorms. Right?
Most of their students aren't even 21.
And so, I don't know why, but that's the effective dates for campus carry. We're going to get into this a little bit more, but today you can conceal carry on campus property. So you can conceal carry in the parking lot, on the sidewalks, yada yada. Just don't go into one of those buildings until these dates. Everybody understand that? As of the effective date, a license holder may carry a concealed handgun on or about the license holder's person while the license holder is on the campus of an institution of higher education or private or independent institution of higher education. Private colleges can opt out. Public colleges cannot opt out. It's just the way it is. I respect private property rights. You will not find a stronger supporter of private property rights. I think all rights are equal. Everybody understand that? Because you're not coming into my kingdom and telling me what I have to do, which is not going to happen. And I respect everybody else's rights to do what they want to do on their property. Doesn't mean I got to go there. But I'm not going to bash them or beat them up for exercising their right. So private colleges can opt out. Public colleges cannot. This is important. I want to talk about first what colleges can't do. Because we're going to have to all work together to get them in check when they do one of these things. Except as provided by Section D1 of the law, and y'all can look this stuff up, you know how to do it. An institution of higher education or private or independent institution of higher education may not adopt any rule, regulation, or other provision prohibiting license holders from carrying handguns on the campus of an institution. They may not do that. This next section is very important. It is critically important. The president or officer may not establish provisions that generally prohibit or have the effect of generally prohibiting license holders from carrying concealed handguns on campus. What is one of the first places, I'm telling you now, it's going to happen, that they're going to try and make off limits in a campus?
Dorms.
The dorms. They cannot do that. They cannot do that because that would be excluding anyone that lives in a dorm or on campus from concealed carrying. This law says you can't do that. I'll take questions at the end of it, okay? If they do, don't just go in there carrying. Don't do that. Contact us. We will have lawyers ready to go. We will take the college to court. And we can do that on behalf of a student. The student will have standing if they're stopped because of the dorm thing. So if a college comes out and says dorms are off limit, we're going to take them straight to court. And they're going to lose because the law says they can't. Okay? What can colleges do? An institution or higher education may establish rules, regulations, or other provisions concerning the storage of handguns in dormitories or other residential facilities. They can make rules on storage, and this is important that they put this in here, right? Because they said you can't make rules prohibiting carry, but they can make rules on storing firearms. So what this is talking about is, if you're going to leave your gun in your dorm and it's not on your person, what can they say you have to do with it?
Has to be in an ice chest with dry ice.
Make you lock it up.
Put it in a lockbox.
Lockbox.
Does the university have to provide the lockbox?
No.
No. The gun owner will be responsible, and the college should have them be responsible for securing their weapon in the dorm. And any reasonable, responsible gun owner is not going to leave a gun laying around with all these people walking around. So you're just not going to do it. So we won't have no problem putting our gun in a lockbox, one of the fingerprint ones, or you can have a combination one, or you can have a key one. It doesn't matter. A university can say that's how you have to secure your weapon in the dorm if it's not on your person. They can't stop you from concealed carrying in the dorm, but they can tell you how you have to store it. Okay? We got to watch out for this one because this is the one we're going to be looking for first. All right? They cannot prohibit.
Or they could require you put it in a ice chest with dry ice. What's to prevent them from doing that?
Here's what they can do. They can create reasonable rules. Now, I was at the Capitol for every second of every minute of every hour of every debate. I was sitting in that chamber in the Senate and the House. They clearly established legislative intent. They said it, it came out of their mouth, we want legislative intent, let's get it in the record, it's there for us. Okay? They can make quote-unquote gun-free areas on colleges. But they have to be able to justify it for safety concerns. I do want to read this because I find it humorous. After consulting with students, staff, and faculty of the institution regarding this first part, the nature of the student population. What does that mean?
Too much.
I would really like to know what that means. Because that's got some serious connotations to it. Regarding the nature of the student population, specific safety considerations, and the uniqueness of the campus environment, the president or other chief executive officer can make reasonable rules.
That
So-
means if you got too many white people, you can prevent that.
Not saying that. All right.
Boy, you're close, Doc.
What this means is, and the legislative intent was clearly established, if they have a biochemical lab that's got the methyl, ethyl, if it gets out, it's going to kill the whole world, right? They can make that area off limits. That was clearly established in legislative intent. What they can't do is, if that lab, methyl, ethyl, kill your bio stuff, if it gets out, it'll kill the whole world, is a room in a building, and underwater basket weaving's in there, and tennis is in there, and water polo's in there, and English is in there. They cannot make the whole building off limits. It can only be that room. They're also going to try and make the first aid area off limits. Clearly they said that you cannot do that. They said those exact words in legislative intent. So we're going to have to watch when they come out with these rules. We're going to need to go over them. We're going to need help because I can't look at every single university out there, and neither can Al. Okay? When y'all find these things, you're going to need to shoot them to us, and we're going to need to look at them. Now, a lot of people are going to think, oh, it's just too confusing. You know, I don't know where I can or cannot carry in a campus. Sure you do. All you got to do is open your eyes, because they must post a 30-06 sign wherever it's prohibited. It's just that simple. They also must widely distribute the rules that they come up with. They must post them on the students' websites. They must make sure this is clearly communicated. They're also required to send whatever rules they make to the legislature every even-numbered year. Guess who appoints the regents of the college? So if the regents don't act right, they can get unappointed. And we can get regents in there that will follow the law. Okay? So they have to widely distribute the rules and other things like that to the students and staff and faculty. We need to educate ourselves on those rules. Any questions?
What about other firearms besides pistols?
On college property?
Yes.
Yeah, they can regulate that till the cows come home.
So, if they can only, the only exception now is handguns.
That's correct. That is correct.
Okay.
You walk around with 30-30.
Well, a college may let you walk around with a 30-30.
That would,
So.
Yeah, Terry,
Yes.
back to his earlier question, if I understand 30-06 correctly, every entrance to that area must be signed.
Yes. That's
Because we had an interesting problem with Second Amendment Foundation years ago, up at the airport. They had a sign at the front door, 30-06 sign at the front door. They did not have one on the tramway that comes in.
At the airport?
Yeah, the hotel at the airport, they did not have one on the tramway area coming in. So we just all came on the tram. It wasn't a problem. Never saw the sign. Too bad.
Every entrance has to be.
All right, guys. Before we get into open carry, I'd like to take a quick break. Just let everybody go to the restroom. Open carry is going to be the last item we cover, so let's take a quick 5-minute break.
Restrooms are back here, and I think they're also downstairs. Take this time to get to know one another, and if you have any questions for me, I'm right here. And so is Terry. And Dave.
Hi, Carol.
How are you doing? Come on. Now the rally doesn't start. It's from 4 to 6, so we won't be home till.
I'm the only tech guy over at the location where I'm at now.
Yes. You're going to give up. Are you going to give up?
I understand completely.
I will.
I understand.
If you wanna be a real member, $6 a month.
I'll have to look up right now. I just got a part-time job and that's what I'm gonna pay my bill.
Well, I completely understand how difficult it is.
We're going.
We'll deal with them.
Having more time fishing rights.
We'll deal with them. We don't even have to get stupid.
It can be good.
Let's go deal with it.
Right
The
now,
check
Don't get me wrong, I can tell them to pound sand
right
nice.
now I'm back in college.
Exactly what
Because we are.
That's how it's gonna be. So we want them right now to locate a house.
What's more effective?
Better
That?
location wise, so I can take advantage of
What's more effective? I don't think so.
And she's like, yeah, but
That will get you arrested in city.
That's perfectly fine, but. I couldn't even tell you. I could watch it.
I would want to look.
My question is, why do you take it?
I told me last night, they've got people involved. Tax lawsuit. People that aren't covered. And that's what we do.
so I'm like, you know, and then you also have the situation where people like they they're at the expense of the taxes. And I'm like, you know,
That's the process for me.
It's just like, I guess the last time I checked, I'm hilarious. So I'm saying, anyway, I digress. On the back end, I'm always afraid to pause. Yeah.
Because now she's no longer.
It's all
Well, that's not my son. Oh, wait a minute.
No, I think
We're the salt of the earth. And they are. They're going to do it anyway. Whether they technically can or not. It will be rude by people who get to make that. Yes, the case against you ultimately will go away.
All the rest of it.
If they're screwed, once they say, that's now, you should identify yourself. Now they got you on a legitimate charge. That is a legitimate charge. And it's
And go waste the committee's time.
yeah, we're filming these Texas, we call it horseshits, and these Texas turn into smoke signals.
And be able to do, like behind that smoke screen.
And try to prevent people from stopping. That's the point. That's why laws are saying. If they're vague, you don't know what it means. If you don't know what it means, you don't know how to obey it properly. If you don't know how to obey it properly, that gives them the angle to come in and say, you're under arrest every time.
All right, guys, let's get started.
Yep.
Hey, how you doing, Ari? You got my back, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Now for the fun one. I want everybody to take a deep breath. Put your coffee down. No more coffee for the rest of the presentation. Please hold your questions until the end unless I ask you a direct question. I know who I'm talking to. Okay? Understand that. I have the utmost respect. Love Open Carry Texas. Love CJ. Just let me get to the end. Don't throw no apples or oranges or tomatoes at me. It'll be fine. Here we go. Understanding open carry laws can seem like mission impossible. They're so convoluted. They're written in such a way that they really are designed to trip up the citizen. You know, they've got gun laws scattered throughout the penal code and trying to keep up with it all. People are afraid to go out and get a CHL and carry because of all the traps that they have set for us. But I can tell you that Texas Carry believes with all of our heart that through education and relationships, working with law enforcement and helping citizens, that we can unlock the knowledge to get us over this hump. Texas Carry is leading the rights in a gun restoration period in Texas history. There is no question about that. We are living history in the making. A 144-year ban has been lifted. I understand it's not the Holy Grail, but this is something to celebrate. This is something to be excited about. This wasn't even a conversation that anyone was willing to have until after the 83rd legislative session, when they ignored us for the very final time. And because they continued to ignore us after the 2013 83rd legislative session, the grassroots activists rose up and said, we're going to get your attention. And OCT was a major, major leader in that activist effort. And y'all should congratulate yourselves and give yourselves a hand, for sure. So how does Texas stack up? Most folks here know this already. This was before the 84 session. You see all the ones in yellow, those are all open carry states.
Most of those are permitless.
Unbelievable. How many people before 2013 thought that Texas was this big pro-Second Amendment state? Most of the state thinks that. Most of the state,
world thinks
Everybody.
most of the country thinks that Texas is cowboy hats and guns because when they picture Texas, they see me. If you pan the camera around here, there ain't another me in the room, okay? But no, Texas is very, very far behind. And the interesting part is when you look at the breakout, you see orange, which we are now orange, actually. Orange is licensed.
Orange on the first.
on September the 1st, thank you. January the 1st.
Yeah.
January the 1st, camera.
January the 1st.
2016.
We're going to get into that. The yellow, 31 states are unlicensed open carry. Louisiana's been unlicensed open carry for 100 years. And so Texas Carry is bringing it. We are doing everything that we can to kill the myth, the fables, the fairy tales through education. Contrary to popular belief and the talking points out there, the world is not ended in the 44 states that have open carry. And more importantly, the fact the sky is not falling in the 31 states that have unlicensed open carry makes the opposition's head explode. They don't like facts. And for all those that participated in the legislative session, you saw the fairy tales and the fables. Facts didn't matter. So what was Texas Carry's historical impact in the '84 session? And I'm going to give you a little history. In 1995, Jerry Patterson passed SB 60, the CHL law. The Senate version, SB 60, only had 2 signatures on that bill. In 1995, the companion bill was HB 72. It only had 23 signatures. Now keep in mind, Texas State Rifle Association, right? This was their work. 23 signatures. Let's fast forward. 2013. George Lavender had been working on trying to get open carry with a license, and thank God for his work, because I don't believe we would have been where we were even in the '84 session without the work that he did in 2011 and 2013. Okay? That bill only had 22 signatures and didn't have a Senate sponsor. So what did it look like in 2015? Texas Carry's efforts led to 85 whopping signatures. 85. Unprecedented to get 85 signatures on any gun bill, let alone open carry. The Senate version had 14 signatures. Huge, huge accomplishment. And so if you want to compare the work that Texas Carry did to the work that Texas State Rifle Association did, they got campus carry passed. Go look at their signatures. Right? They don't get credit for open carry. I'm not letting them take it.
They don't deserve it.
So covering the new open carry law, here's what we're going to cover. Who can open carry? We're going to define open carry. We're going to talk about holster requirements. We're going to talk just briefly about retention. We're going to talk about prohibited places, open versus conceal. We're going to talk about the new 30-07 sign provision. We're going to talk about the sign violation change, which, by the way, is the biggest victory in the session. We're going to talk about open carry in a vehicle, the training changes that are coming in the CHL training program, and we're going to talk about the very last possible thing that I can do, y'all, interacting with law enforcement. Very important. Open carry does not go into effect until when? Everybody say it? January 1st. Keep saying it. To everybody. We need to get shirts plastered that says, please do not open carry a modern handgun until January 1st, because you will go to jail. Who can open carry? I know that not everybody's going to be happy about this, but I'm here to teach you what the law is. Current handgun license holders only can open carry a modern handgun. You have to have a CHL. Okay? No additional training will be required.
Texas CHL or
Any CHL. Now, I'm going to go ahead and say this now. I want to make sure everybody's educated. Okay? I think you should have multiple options. But understand, if you do not have a Texas state CHL, you cannot be within 1,000 feet of a school. Just want everybody to understand that. It's a federal offense otherwise. It's not a state issue. That's a federal offense. All right?
And ask Casey Massey if the feds will arrest you.
Yeah. And we're activists. Let's not forget that. which means we got eyes on us. Okay? So current CHL holders, you got to have a concealed, some people call them CCWs, depending on if you have an Arizona or a Florida license or a Virginia license or a Texas license. If you have a license in a state we have reciprocity with, you can open carry with it in Texas. No additional training will be required. If you're a current license holder, there's no new license required. Your current handgun license is all that you need. There's not going to be any additional fees. There's nothing you need to do. When it comes time to renew your license, you'll just renew it normally. Okay? This doesn't really impact current CHL holders other than I now get to untuck my shirt. Hallelujah.
I don't have to wear 2 shirts anymore.
All right? This is the definition of open carry. The handgun is partially or wholly visible, but it is carried in a shoulder holster or belt holster. What is visible? What's it say? The handgun. It does not say holster. Okay? And words have meaning in law. So if the bottom of my holster is sticking out, that is not open carry. If part of my gun is exposed, that is open carry. Okay? This is the definition of open carry. Doesn't really matter that much. I wasn't ever quite sure why they put that in there, but the problem is that created another issue for us that we're going to talk about. Unlawful carry warning. A partial or wholly visible handgun carried on or about the license holder that is not in a shoulder or belt holster can result in unlawful carry by a license holder, which is a Class A misdemeanor. Understand? Does everybody understand what this means? Okay. If your gun is exposed and it is not in a shoulder holster or a belt holster, you will go to jail for unlawful carry by a license holder. Okay?
Well, if you got it stuck in your waistband, you're in violation.
Open carrying a vehicle by a license holder. Now, I put this in here for a very, very specific reason. Who knows what the Motor Vehicle Protection Act is? Who knows what the Castle Law is? Does the Castle Law allow you to carry in your vehicle?
No.
Somebody went to say yes. The answer is no. Castle Law has nothing to do with where you can carry. Castle Law is where you can defend yourself. That's what the Castle Law is. The Motor Vehicle Protection Act allows you to carry a concealed handgun in your car. Without a license. The Castle Doctrine protects you from defending yourself while in your vehicle. It has nothing to do with what you can carry in your car. A lot of people confuse the two. So, a person commits an offense if the person intentionally, knowingly, or recklessly carries, this is important, on or about his or her person a handgun in a motor vehicle or watercraft that is owned by the person or under the person's control at any time in which the handgun is in plain view unless the person is licensed to carry the handgun under local government chapter 411 and the handgun is carried in a shoulder or belt holster. So we're CHL holders today. Can we open carry in our car today?
No.
No. After January 1st, can you open carry in your car?
Yes.
In a holster, yes.
Can it be in your seat? Can it be on the dash?
No.
Yes, it can.
If
If it's in a shoulder holster or belt holster, on or about your person, does not have to be on you. The common definition of about your person has been well established over the many years, easily accessible from where you're sitting. So if you can reach it.
Of course, if you lay it on your seat and you put a piece of paper over it,
But you don't have to if it's in a holster. If it's in a shoulder or belt holster. So there are going to be people that want to mount a belt holster underneath the steering wheel. That's perfectly lawful if you're a CHL holder.
Cool.
Okay? You can lay it in your seat as long as it's in a shoulder or belt holster. perfectly lawful. You can lay it on your dash. You can lay it on the top, right outside on where you can reach it on the top of your vehicle for all I care, if it's in a shoulder or belt holster. This is on or about. Nothing requires you to have that gun on your person.
That's only if you have a license.
Only if you have a license. If you don't have a license, you got to carry it concealed in your car. That's Motor Vehicle Protection Act. Okay? Holster requirements, y'all have obviously figured it out by now. If you're going to open carry, you got to have it in a shoulder holster or belt holster. There are no retention requirements in the law. Okay? Please don't ask me about drop leg holsters. I can't take it anymore. It is your right. Okay. There is no definition of belt holster in the law, number one. There was no legislative intent established around shoulder holsters or belt holsters. So that means we go to the common definition. If you go to the common definition of holster, it says anything that connects to your belt. If it connects to your belt, it's a belt holster. Do you have to have it on a belt? No, it doesn't say that you have to. So you can clip it onto your pants, which I don't recommend doing. If you're going to carry, open carry, you need to have a good holster. You need to have a good belt holster. You need to be able to secure it. You have every right in the world to strap a drop leg holster on and go do it. I also have every right in the world to tell you you're going to look stupid. Whatever. Makes me no difference. I think it's unwise. That's my personal professional opinion. We would like to see open carry go off smoothly. If you want to do it, go ahead. I'm going to say, yep, you got every right to do that. Nope, I'm not going to come out and squawk on you and tell you not to do it.
I thought I looked really good at the Alamo last week with my drop leg holster, with my black powder pistol.
If you want to be tactical,
I did make the front page of San Antonio Express News.
go ahead and do it. CJ's probably going to kill me for saying that. All right. I love you, CJ. No retention requirements, okay? The holster you decide doesn't have to be a level 2 or a level 3 or anything.
Not that they didn't try.
We're going to talk about this right now, retention. Okay? There are no retention requirements in the law, but we should be aware of good retention practices. All right? It is absolutely critical that if you're going to open carry that you understand good retention practices. The first thing, and I believe it's the most important thing, is situational awareness. Okay? I'm not going to go and I'm not going to open carry in a room that's elbow to elbow with people where I can't control my proximity to someone else to my weapon. That's me personally. You know, if I can't get good body position and things like that and keep some distance between me and people, I'm not open carrying. That's just the idea of being situationally aware. Okay? You need to know where you're at and things of that nature. Body position, where would that be relevant? Who could give me an example? Anybody?
Wherever you can get to it.
Standing in line at Walmart. Right? I want to keep my body turned away from the person standing beside me, behind me in the Walmart line. It's just good retention practice. Right? Just that simple. Where you keep your arm over your weapon. Where do you not want to put your hand? Ever.
On the grip of your gun.
Please don't do this. Why?
Because that can be taken as a...
You will automatically be perceived by a threat by law enforcement.
Or some people think that.
You're going to be perceived by a threat by the liberals anyway. They still think the boogeyman's in the closet. Okay? And a good holster. How many of y'all carry 1911s? Okay, so y'all are going to get a good leather holster, right? Because you're not going to put a 1911 in anything else because it just wouldn't look right. Right? You're going to put it in a good leather holster. Make sure that that leather holster will allow you to what with that gun? Run. Any holster.
Yep.
If you have to, the first thing that's going to happen when shots get fired in a situation, you're going to do one of several things. One, you're going to run and get cover, you're gonna dive, you're gonna jump, whatever it's gonna take, you need to make sure that you keep that gun in your holster while you're doing those things so you can pull it.
That's right.
If you lose it while you're running, well, then guess what? You just became chum for the shark.
Just keep running.
Now, most everybody here is very educated on guns, and I know that, but I give you these things so that you have something that you can give to other people. Y'all need to make sure that Open Carry Texas Houston is doing everything it can to educate the uneducated.
That would be the police officers, don't you?
And I'm going to tell you that's 99% of gun owners. So Texas Carry has a defensive handgun class that we're going to be providing. If you take, I'm going to give you an example about education. If you take that class, you're going to be more knowledgeable and skilled than 99% of all handgun owners. 99%. It don't take much. An 8-hour day, and you are more knowledgeable and skilled than 99% of gun owners. Why? Because people are uneducated, and they're just not taking the time to get educated. We need OCT Houston, the powerhouse in the business, to be educating people on good retention practices.
Here, here.
Okay? Important definition, premises, and there's a reason I'm giving you this definition. It means a building or a portion of a building. So we have a new debate out there, just to let y'all know, the new debate is, can you carry in a courthouse? That's the newest debate that's going on out there. Please do not carry in the courthouse. Okay? Let those that are trying to deal with that, but it is Texas Carry's opinion and Texas Law Shield's opinion that courthouses are not off limits. Courtrooms are. Okay? But we'll deal with that.
But right now, do not carry in a courthouse.
Please don't do that.
Unless you're ready to challenge the law.
Because you're going to go to jail, and that's a pretty big deal. All right. The term does not include any public or private driveway, street, sidewalk, parking lot, parking garage, or other parking area. The definition of premise is very important. There is prohibited places versus open. This is why I gave you the definition. There's only one difference. Everywhere that you can conceal carry today, you can open carry today, except for one place.
Well, January the 1st.
January the 1st.
It's college campuses.
You cannot open carry on college campus property, any of it. Can't do it. That's the only exception in the law. And you can see number 1, it says on the premises of an institution. That covers the buildings or portions of, you just cannot open carry inside any of their buildings. And then they said on any public or private driveway, street, sidewalk, or walkway, parking lot, parking garage, or other parking area of an institution of a higher education, a private independent institution of higher education, no open carry on college property. Why couldn't they just say that in one sentence, right? That's what that means. That's the only difference come January 1. Anywhere you can conceal carry, you will be able to open carry. Anybody have a thought of a place that might not be a good idea to open carry where we can conceal carry today?
Liquor store.
Whataburger.
Yeah. I quit.
On a serious note.
In a police station?
I don't open carry in a police station.
We have open carried in police stations before. They didn't have a problem with it.
What do you get?
Obviously, it's controversial if you did.
Grocery store.
No, it was down in,
School. Schools. Schools. You can conceal carry with a Texas CHL on school property. Not college.
When you say Texas CHL only, you mean reciprocity doesn't apply to that?
No.
It's because it's a federal law.
As the law says Texas CHL.
back to that 1,000 feet of the school, that's without a Texas CHL?
That's correct.
It's a federal crime.
That's correct.
So Arizona and all those don't apply. Okay.
You cannot carry onto school, conceal carry onto a school property with a gun without a
So
CHL.
like if you're picking up a kid, if you're in your car, nothing. Wow.
I don't remember exactly what it says, Joe, but the law it makes a reference to the license being issued by your home state.
Yep.
The federal law does. I don't remember it verbatim. You look it up. You
So,
go-
so the point of all this, and I don't want to get drugged down, guys, I want to keep this moving, is probably not a good idea. You're probably at risk of getting shot by a sniper. You're laughing. That's dead serious. When you get a guy that gets shot in Walmart for having an airsoft gun that he pulled off the shelf, you better know that this is no joke. All right? Something for you to think about and weigh out in your mind as you're making your decisions where to open carry.
That
I'm not
was
gonna-
a scary looking airsoft gun though, so you can understand why the cop shot it. Looked very scary.
I'm not going to spend a lot of time on current prohibited places, but the reason I'm covering this is because not everybody that I talk to is well educated on the issues. Y'all know where you can't carry, right? But we see the premises of a polling place on voting days, on the premises of, here's that one I was telling you about, on the premises of any government court or offices utilized by the court. If they wanted it to mean courthouse, it would have said courthouse. On the premises of a racetrack, into a secured area of an airport. We have an important change there that we're going to go over. And then, of course, can't be within 1,000 feet of a prison if they're having an execution that day.
The only question on that one is, execution on that unit or all units?
That unit.
Okay. Then you only have to worry about the walls unit.
And only on that day.
HB 554, how many people knew about this one? It was a great bill. So currently, how many people know that you can conceal carry in the airport? How many people thought you couldn't? You can conceal carry into the airport, you just can't go into the secured area of the airport, which means we're going to cavity search you and grope you TSA section right there. That's the secured area of an airport. Before, if you got to that area and you went through the little deal that they says secured area sign, you were in big trouble. You were going to go straight to jail directly. Jail, do not pass go. Do not collect $200.
Unless you're Drew Darby
Unless you,
and you got the drunken DA on your side.
Now the law has changed. And it says that it is a defense to prosecution that the actor possessed at the screening checkpoint for the secured area a concealed handgun that the actor was licensed to carry. So if you have a CHL and you forget that you're carrying, it's in your briefcase, and it can happen. It's happened to me before. I have literally forgotten to take it off because I carry it every day and I'm just so used to it, and I'm talking on the phone and I'm yelling at representatives and senators. You know, I'm getting, and I just get out of my car real quick and I'm going on to the next thing and I'm going into somewhere that I am not supposed to. And had I not been on that phone and going through all of that, I would have reached up, taken it off, secured it in my car, etc., shut and locked my car and went and done my business. I've done that before. So I know how it can easily happen. All right? Here, if you're licensed and you get to that screening portion and you immediately, upon completion of the required screening, are notified that you possess it, if you turn around and leave, you didn't break a law. Okay? A peace officer, and this is important, this is one of these bullet cards we're going to give you. A police officer investigating the conduct that may constitute an offense under Section A5, and that consists only of an actor's possession of a concealed handgun that the actor is licensed to carry. What's this say right there?
May not arrest.
May not arrest the actor for the offense. The officer advises the actor of the defense available and gives the actor an opportunity to exit the screening checkpoint for the secured area. If you say one argumentative word to the law enforcement officer, you're going to go to jail. You need to say, uh-oh, turn around and leave. All right? This was a good law. I mean, nobody's intentionally going in there doing that, right? Nobody's intentionally doing that. So if a CHL holder gets to that point, you know they forgot. All right. Unlawful carry by a license holder. If the business derives 51% or more of its income, I put these here for a specific reason. From the sale or service of alcohol beverages for on-premises consumption. Okay? On the premises where a high school, collegiate or professional sporting event or interscholastical event is taking place. These are places you can't carry open or concealed. Everybody understand that? These are prohibited both ways. On the premises of a correctional facility. Premises is inside the building. Remember, that's why I gave that definition, right? Okay. Building or a portion of the building. What about these? How about on the premises of the hospital? Is that a prohibited place?
Only if they put
In the amusement park? On the premises of a church? I hope not. If you were watching my video earlier, you saw the pastor open carrying in there. Right?
Hence the open carry preaching.
By the way, this is what the law says today. This says that these areas are prohibited today. The law says that. This is copied and pasted straight from the law. Right? Or at any meeting of a governmental entity. Well, the problem is if you keep reading the law, they're only prohibited if a 30-06 is posted, or a 30-07 now. But what can't a governmental entity do now?
Post them.
They can't post them. Beautiful thing, isn't it? It's just a symphony. It's music to our ears, right? Subsections B4, B5, B6, and B7 do not apply. I'm going to try and get this cleaned up next section. I think all of this is kind of pointless. To have the laws confusing.
Well,
I cannot
to
tell you.
clarify, if they post those places, you can't carry in there, but it's against the law to post them.
Governmental entity.
Governmental entity.
Yeah.
Okay.
A church can post them all day long.
Okay.
Private property.
Nursing home.
If they don't, they can post them something.
Yeah. As long as it's not a government operation.
Right. Okay. 30-07 sign edition. Everybody knows what a 30-06 is, right?
Yes.
30-07 is the exact same thing, but for open carry. So let's have a little fun in there, show of hands, and then we'll come back January 1 and we'll see who was right. How many people think a restaurant that we all know about is going to post a 30-07 sign? How many of y'all think that's going to happen? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How many think it's not going to happen? You know why I think that?
They don't want to lose the money.
And I will say this on the video. I carry a gun every day in Starbucks. Every day.
They don't know it.
If I go to Chipotle's,
They do now.
if I go to Chipotle, I carry a gun every time I go to Chipotle. My wife and I love going to Sonic. I'm carrying a gun. Lawfully. There's a big difference between a political statement and a sign.
Yep.
So we will see. Okay? Criminal trespass is the same for 30-06, but for open carry it's going to be a 30-07. So let's talk about this for a minute. You walk up and you see a 30-07 sign on a department store. What does that mean?
You go somewhere else.
Don't shop there.
All the
You
above.
can, if there's not a 30-06 sign, you can go in there concealed. So it's not a gun-free zone. If they don't want you to open or conceal, they must post both signs. It's our hope, and Texas Carry is going to work on this until we are all in wheelchairs and are in the grave. We're going to try and get Texas to follow the leadership of Florida and Oklahoma and make it to where signs have no legal force.
How about we just make constitutional carry the law of the land? Maybe we could like put that in the Constitution where you can't.
That doesn't deal with private. I do agree that we should be constitutional, which means we're going to protect private property rights, Doc.
Certainly.
Just want to be real clear about that. What we don't want is, we don't want to have to deal with confusing signs. And because signs can get, is that sign a legit sign? Can I carry? Am I breaking the law, etc., etc.? We would just as soon do away with signs, just like Oklahoma, just like Florida. And if the business doesn't want you there, they ask you to leave. That's their constitutional right, and we're good.
That's it.
Okay? But we'll have to see. Right now, 30-7, no open carry in a 30-7. Okay? That's what it means. Alright? It's the same exact language. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it's criminal trespass if you violate a 30-7 sign. Okay? Huge, huge victory. Texas Carry went to Mr. Representative Schaefer, and we asked him if he would carry this bill for us. Because NDA, the Bloomberg cult, very much upset me when they wanted to try and go to the gunbuster signs. And I said, okay, the Bloomberg cult wants to try and create a bunch of gun-free zones, and they want to go try and get the little 30-6 signs posted on a little 8x11 to put us at risk for being arrested. I know how to fix that. So we went to Representative Schaefer and we said it is ridiculous that this is a Class A misdemeanor if you don't see a sign. It's just ridiculous. I said signs aren't even posted properly half the time when they do put them up. Right? I mean, are you really a criminal because you didn't see the sign? Let's get this moved to a Class C misdemeanor. Bam, done. Now if you walk past a 30-6 or a 30-7 sign because you didn't see it because it wasn't properly posted, it's just a ticket. With a max of a $200 fine if the judge wants to give you the max fine. It's just a ticket. Like a speeding ticket. No different. Huge victory.
Yay. Who carried that, by the way?
Schaefer, Representative Schaefer.
Matt Schaefer.
Thank you.
Yes.
That really is a big deal, folks, because that Class A misdemeanor would have cost you your CHL.
That's correct.
And the C will not.
All right. The training changes. Basically, the only difference is DPS is updating the current CHL training material. It's already got a ton of fluff in it anyway, so they're just going to move some other stuff around. The things that I talked to you about retention a while ago, they're going to talk about in the class now. And so for new CHL holders coming in, they're going to get taught about retention holsters. They'll probably say, yep, go get a level 3 retention holster. Only if you want to get killed. Okay?
Hold it a minute while I get my gun.
Right. Time out! I gotta get my gun out! I do think it's probably a good idea to get you a good holster that'll hold the gun. I would even say up to a level 2 retention. But I see sheriffs walking around. Sheriffs walk around all the time with their 1911s and their pretty leather holsters. So I don't see no problem if you're practicing good situational awareness. But the point being is they're going to update the current training to reflect talking about retention. All right? It doesn't lengthen the course, and y'all need to be telling the new CHL applicants this, right? Remember, this is so that you can go out and educate. It's not going to lengthen the course. It doesn't take any longer. It doesn't cost any more money, okay? And it doesn't impact you as a current CHL holder at all.
Anywhere we can get the money down again?
Huh?
Anywhere we can get the money cut down again?
Let's talk about that when we're done, okay? Y'all ready for the fun?
Oh boy.
Here we go. Interacting with law enforcement. Balancing licensed open carry with unlawful open carry is what law enforcement is now faced with doing. Because the legislature didn't do the right thing.
Right.
That's a reality. And it's one that we have to live with, and it's one law enforcement has to live with. Many of y'all have probably already seen what I've put out on this. 4602 did not change. 4602 reads the exact same as it read before session. It now reads the same thing after the session. Unlawful carrying of weapons. A person commits an offense if the person intentionally, knowingly, or recklessly carries on or about his or her person a handgun, illegal knife, or club if the person is not on the person's own premises or premises under their control, or inside or directly en route to a motor vehicle, watercraft that is owned by the person or under the person's control. That did not change. It is still against the law. But 4602 doesn't apply to CHL holders. We have now created what is called an affirmative defense. Section 4602B6 says 4602 does not apply to a person who is carrying a license issued under Chapter 411 to carry a handgun and it is being carried in a concealed manner or in a shoulder or belt holster. What does this mean? Okay. Hold your questions and comments until we're done. Activists look at things differently. The average citizen, which we have a gentleman that's here today, that's just an average citizen. He's not trying to go out there and be an activist and try and fight some of these things, all right? I'm going to talk to you, sir. If the law enforcement officer comes up to you and you're open carrying and they say, hey, let me see your CHL. If you don't give it to them, they're going to arrest you for unlawful carry under 4602. They're not going to arrest you for failing to ID because you're not under arrest. Then what will happen is, once you're under arrest, you do have to ID. So then they're going to take you to jail and they're going to figure out, oh, this law doesn't apply to this guy. Sorry, man, we're going to let you go now. Go ahead and go on about your business because this law doesn't apply to you, and now we know that. The arrest will be lawful. It will be a lawful arrest. This is my opinion. Okay? For the activist, I'm going to give you options. Now I'm talking to everybody but our friend. Okay. Black powders have more powder day than they have this entire effort that we've done. Because you don't have to ID carrying a black powder revolver. Another option is your Arizona CHL. Why is that a good option?
Because it doesn't have your driver's license number on it.
That's right.
Or your picture.
Or your picture.
Except that when you get the paper that your Arizona CHL has, it says that if a peace officer asks you for your CH or your CCW, you have to present them with the picture ID. That is in the paper that they send you.
That's Arizona law. Not enforceable in Texas law. So you can give them your Arizona CHL. Okay? We do have a little perk on the law that says that if the law enforcement officer demands your ID and you're carrying under Chapter 411, that you're to provide them your CHL along with your driver's license if they demand your ID. The problem with that is the only time that they can lawfully demand your ID is when you're under arrest. That's the problem. Or driving your car. They can, if you're driving a vehicle, you have to give them your driver's license, and if you're carrying under Government Code 411, you got to give them your CHL too. So there's your two options, activists, but I'm going to tell you now, and I'm right, if you don't ID, they're going to arrest you for unlawful carry under 4602. Then they'll find out that you're a CHL holder, and then you'll get out, or they will just drop the charges after you bond out. But the arrest will be lawful. It's no longer going to be a CHL as of January the 1st. It's going to be an LTC licensed Texas carry. It's going to be an LTC licensed to carry. I just thought it was pretty cool that they said LTC. They are going to change it to a license to carry. The CHL name will be no more. It's going to be an LTC. I don't know who came up with that. Maybe DPS wanted to give Texas Carry a little credit and call it an LTC. I don't know. But it will be called a license to carry. Questions? Questions on open carry? Yes,
I
sir.
got one. After you said if they have an 07 sign, that means you cover up. But they don't have 07, but they have 06.
Then I'm walking straight in there open carry.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
So they had to have both.
They have to have both if they want to prevent both. Yes.
Question about my CHL in regard to giving it to a police officer. Am I allowed to, as far as you know, punch a hole in that and put it on a lanyard around my neck?
You're not allowed to alter any
I can't
state issued
deface it,
ID.
no.
It invalidates it.
I have
David,
to
why
put
don't you
it
come
on-
on up a minute? I want David to come up a minute, and because I think this is a good point to put OCT's official stance out here.
Well,
On the licensing issue, make sure you get in front of the camera there.
it's actually a pretty simple thing. It is the official position of Open Carry Texas that, under the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution, that an officer would not have the authority to demand your CHL if all he did was see you carrying a pistol. That's our official position. Having said that,
Sounds good.
yeah, it does. Do y'all know who Edwin Walker is? He's the head lawyer around these parts for Texas Law Shield. Edwin and I had two conversations about 45 minutes apiece, 2 days in a row, talking about this particular issue. And here's what it comes down to, folks. You have to understand that what the law says on paper and what actually happens in a courtroom are two entirely different things, and I'll give you an example. The Second Amendment is pretty clear. Shall not be infringed means you will not do anything where this is concerned, yet they infringe the hell out of it all the time, and everybody knows it. It's pretty much the same thing, and what Edwin said to me boils down to this. What the people in charge of the courtroom do inside that courtroom is what they want to do. They
The
don't
law has
necessarily...
never been an impediment to the government.
Precisely. The government doesn't have a problem breaking its own laws. So, in plain English, what Terry said is absolutely correct. Whether they actually have the right to arrest you or not, they're going to. Whether the Fourth Amendment protects you or not, they're going to. It's as simple as that. Mainly because there's really nothing that stops them from doing it. What's going to happen? Are the government watchdog police going to come around and arrest the judge and the DA and the cop that arrested you and throw them in jail? No.
And here's the problem with this, you know, for the activist. I mean, y'all know, everybody here knows me, you know that I'll rub up against it, no problem. You know I'll go fight the good fight. I got no problem going to jail for righteousness' sake. I got no problem with that. But I fight battles that I'm going to win. This is not one of them that I can win at the end of the day because of the way the law's written. The law's got me. Just like the law's got them when it's flipped. That's why black powder pistols are such a beautiful thing. Right? I've been arrested for carrying a black powder pistol, but I was right. And I won. This is a different issue, guys, so the activists really need to weigh out just how far you want to go with this, because this would end up being a Texas Supreme Court issue, which takes years to get to. Years to get to the Texas Supreme Court. And so, weigh it out carefully. I respect, if you want to fight this fight, I certainly respect you for doing so, but you just need to understand the path that this is going to take. You will most certainly lose your CHL in the process.
You won your case, but how much did it cost you to win?
You know, I don't think you can put that type of a price tag on a fight like that. So it doesn't really matter.
But it did cost you money, is my point. It did not make you money, it cost you money.
And we're not quite done with that yet, Doc. There'll be an announcement coming out soon. DPS hadn't heard the last of Texas Carry or Open Carry Texas in Austin Region 7.
So, even though we have differing official positions, I think Open Carry Texas and Texas Carry agree about what's going to happen. If you don't show them your CHL, you're going to get arrested, whether you should or not.
And I don't think our positions are different. I just want to make sure everybody understands the law as it's written. I think if you want to take the position of the Fourth Amendment, then you take that battle and you fight it. Just understand the path getting there. Understand you're going to go to jail. Understand under the current law, it will be lawful to do that. So you have to go and challenge the law as unconstitutional. And that's a big fight. You're not gonna win at the lower court, probably not gonna win in the appeals court, and you're gonna have to go to the Texas Supreme Court, which is the final law of the land in Texas. Let me be real clear about that.
So if you don't have the time, the money, or the patience to do all of that, show them the license.
Any
I'm
questions?
gonna go sit back down.
Yes, I have a question, sir. If you go to a place and there's not a 30-07, so you just go on in open carrying, but someone there says, we would like you to leave.
You have to leave immediately or it's criminal trespassing. So if they don't have a sign posted and they say, hey, you gotta go, we don't want you open carrying in our place of business, you gotta go.
What if you just conceal the firearm?
That's up to them.
Well, that's only if it's the owner or someone under direct.
An
control of
employee.
that- Yeah, under the direct control of that particular place of business.
Yeah, an employee.
If you offer it up and they tell you to go anyway, you gotta go.
Or you will be in violation in criminal trespassing. That is a Class A misdemeanor. You're not gonna get a Class C for that. Good question.
Real quick, to touch back on the affirmative action defense, there are some states that have upheld it. In Mackey versus State in the Supreme Court of Florida, that state upheld that the state was legally allowed to ask you for your license. So this is uncharted territory for Texas. So just be careful when you're getting into that battle, that you know what you're getting into.
Yes, sir.
Even if the officer isn't that wrong and doesn't know the law, you can still be held accountable for it. So if you don't have $10,000 set aside and 2 weeks to fight the charges, show them your license. If you're not willing to take that bite out, and like what you said, regional DPs,
Region 7?
They will pull your license while the charges are being set.
Yep.
It will happen, there's no doubt about it. You will have to fight the charges, you will have to spend time, and you will temporarily lose your license.
Any other questions?
It's in-
One last one. According to your slide, if they're feeling overwhelmed, my point would be this. If we are all open carrying and have our licenses on us like we're supposed to, and we're all walking around, let's say a very gun-friendly city like Austin.
Oh, come on, Austin don't love us? Come on.
We are going to overwhelm the police department, making them chase us around and check our IDs.
It's possible.
So it goes both ways.
I mean, I've been open carrying in Austin for a while, and APD's never approached me one single time. DPS is a different issue. So, by the way, I hope that OCT is planning on a January 1 event at the Capitol.
Yay.
1 a.m., sir.
If that's not, I'm not doing anything at 1 a.m., Hoss.
We had thought about doing the Alamo, but that's New Year's Eve at midnight.
Yeah.
And it's a Friday, if I'm not mistaken. And just across the street from the Alamo is this big set of steps that leads down to the Riverwalk. The point is, there's gonna be a bunch of drunks running around all over the place, and I think we're gonna.
I think it would be a
They're
good
gonna do something
idea.
with it.
I think it would be a good idea to have a January 1 event at the Capitol,
Yeah.
because I still have a little message to deliver to Region 7 that has arrested 9 of us for not breaking the law up there at the Capitol.
Yep.
So I would like to see if we could get all the groups together and go ahead and have an event, an open carry event with handguns.
Yes.
Captain
I will
Rolando Rivas would
I
love
will
that.
be personally wearing my black powder revolver.
As will I, and while we're on that subject, I wanna say something here, just for the benefit of the video. If you want to avoid a lot of these problems, get a black powder pistol.
Yeah.
Because if you're carrying a black powder pistol right out in the open, today, an officer has absolutely no authority to come up to you and demand to see a license, demand to see your ID, demand to see anything. They do not have the authority to do that if you are carrying a black powder pistol. So, if you're trying to make a political point, which is a lot of what all this is about with OCT and Texas Carry, carry a black powder pistol to make a political point, and then conceal carry a real handgun to protect yourself. That is the legal maneuvering that you can do to sort of
It's activism.
Throw it back on them.
It's activism.
That's,
Here's a question to you. What is a black powder revolver and how does the police officer recognize it?
I have one out in the truck. I brought mine because I'm going to this thing. And so when we're done here, I'll take you out there and I'll show it to you. But
Yeah,
plain English, black
let me
powder-
answer the question a little bit. It is very easy to recognize a black powder revolver, so the law states that a black powder revolver pre-1899 or a replica of a pre-1899 is not considered a firearm.
Right.
That's under federal and state law. That's both. It's just not, it's not a firearm, so it's not regulated. Okay? And all you gotta do is look down, so when the holster's in, all you gotta look down, and if you see the 6 little teats on it, where your caps go, or you see the caps themselves, you know that's a black powder pistol right there.
Right.
Because modern handguns don't use percussion caps.
You know how in those movies about the Civil War, the Revolutionary War, you know how a musket is, you load it from, okay. Well, you have the cylinder where your 6 rounds go. Those, each hole in each cylinder is loaded exactly the same way. You put powder charge, patch, ball, pop it down in there and seat it. Then on the back side of it is those little tips coming out that Terry's talking about, and you put a percussion cap over that. Once you've done all of that, it functions just like a regular
Single action.
revolver that shoots cartridges. It functions the same way. Cock the hammer back and pull the trigger. But the difference is in the way in which it's loaded and the legal definition of that in the law.
So if you want to carry constitutional carry, we have it for black powders and we have it for long guns.
Right. And by the way, they sell these things at Cabela's. The one I got is $229, I think. You can catch them on sale for $150.
And there is no age restriction.
I haven't seen them go back.
Oh yes, and that's the other thing.
Yeah.
Because it's not legally classified as a firearm, no FFLs, you don't have to have it shipped to a dealer. It will literally be shipped to your house through UPS. They'll send it right to you.
But they're not modern day pistols.
Doesn't shoot rimfire or center fire.
I wasn't 21 when I.
But the cool thing about them is you can get a cylinder, a replacement cylinder, that will fire regular cartridges to take to the range and do all that stuff. Now, with that cylinder in the gun, now it's a modern handgun. Now it falls under the same laws as a Glock. With the black powder cylinder in there, it's a black powder revolver, and you can carry it anywhere, anytime. I can go out there and strap mine on and walk in this place right now, and as long as Tommy said it was okay, it's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Just to clarify what he said, those replacement cylinders, they still need black powder cartridges. They can't handle the pressures of modern day powders.
Right.
That also depends on the frame of the gun. Steel frame and brass frame are different. Brass frames don't even consider it.
Don't do it with a
A
brass
lot of
frame.
technical stuff there, guys.
All right, guys, do we have any more questions on open carry or anything like that? Any questions on anything we covered today?
Since we were talking about the whole thing at the Capitol on the first, I know that the rules have changed. Once you cross that magical fence line onto the Capitol grounds, are you still able to carry either black powder revolvers, long guns, or if you're licensed, open carry a modern day handgun not inside the building, but on the grounds of the Capitol?
How do you want me to answer that question? Do you want me to give you the lawful answer, or do you want me to give you what's likely to happen depending on what you're carrying?
Let's go with the legal answer.
The legal answer is you can carry whatever you want onto the Capitol grounds, which is why nobody's been convicted.
Inside the black gate.
Yeah, inside that magical fence, you can carry anything
that
onto the
magical
ground.
The legal answer is you can carry anything you want onto those grounds, and the law doesn't state anything otherwise. DPS is making up garbage, which is why out of the 9 people that have been arrested, not a single one has been taken to trial. They've all been dismissed. The DA won't touch it because the law is very clear on that. So I would not recommend, I see y'all, I would not recommend carrying a long gun in there because that's most assuredly going to get you in a bind. With the changes in the laws, I fully expect black powders not to be an issue. Here's the bigger question at the Capitol. What happens when you walk in the door?
It should be the same thing like you
So
did.
I can tell you what the legislative intent was clear in the Senate. That you can open carry in the Capitol with your CHM. Now, if you try and walk in there with black powder, they're gonna send you packing, or if you come in with an Arizona, they're gonna send you packing. But if you walk up with a Texas CHL or the new LTC, as it's gonna be January 1, you can open carry in the capital.
Wait a minute, Terry, did I hear you right? They're not gonna honor reciprocity from other states.
You cannot enter that capital with an out-of-state CHL.
Inside.
Really?
Nope.
I did not know
From
that.
my
Inside.
understanding, David,
Inside.
what was told to me, and I don't know if this is, I talked to Richard about this a while ago. He said that the only reason that out-of-state CHLs like Arizona, Virginia, Florida, etc., are not allowed on the Capitol is because of a clerical or a technical glitch in the system that they can't confirm with Arizona or whatever state you have it from, that they can't confirm that you actually are that person.
That's not a technical glitch, it's garbage, because when they, when they're talking to us out here and we give them our CHL here, that's good enough.
Yeah.
So we're working on that, but we're gonna have to work with the preservation board. I don't wanna get too hung up on that. To answer the question, legally, you can carry whatever you want on Capitol grounds, but if you stick with handguns and black powders, you're gonna probably be safe. We'll find out on January 1 because I'm gonna be carrying my black powder revolver.
At,
The Capitol.
at,
Yes, sir.
I may join.
For your hey,
Ally?
Daniel, his name's Daniel.
no, I'm trying.
Daniel, he wants you.
Just want to let you know for, this is some actual experience. I went to the inauguration back in January. I was totally concealed carrying the whole time through the whole Capitol building. They did not give me no hassle at all.
What do you have, Texas?
Yes, I got that.
Okay, that's.
I'm just saying, no, I'm experienced that. Yeah, they don't give no trouble with you.
More with Jeff. Any more? Any more questions?
All done?
All right, guys, thank y'all.
Awesome.
Well, guys, before y'all go, I just want to say thank you for all y'all to come out here on Saturday. Thank you, Terry, for coming out here and giving us this information. Doc, thank you for coming out.
We support you.
Yep. So before y'all go, I also wanted to let y'all know I do have some pins for sale if y'all want to buy some. They're like $5. Carl Pittman is running for sheriff. He gave us some of his stickers.
He's a good guy, vote for him.
Yeah.
Yes, he is.
Yes, he is. It's very important that we look at our law enforcement in Houston and ask that they honor their oath.
And that they take the Texas Carry seminar.
Yes. So if you know law enforcement agencies around Houston that would like to have this kind of presentation, please call us or let us know, and we'll make arrangements to try to get out to them. If anybody has any questions for me afterwards, I'll be available. But yes, you go.
Going back between the Texas CHL and the Arizona, I have some Arizona applications, so if anybody wants one, they're straight from the Arizona. They're willingly giving us as many as we want, so if you want one, we've got them over here.
I do have something to say on Arizona if you're looking to get one. Arizona does not take payments online. Their attorney general is actually doing, I had to cancel my bank card because their website is transferring you to a private website that looks legit, looks like the same thing. So if you're doing anything with Arizona, do not put any money online.
Well, that pretty much concludes everything. So thank you all for coming out, and appreciate you. Very good. Have a great weekend. Yeah, I'll put it back up. I'll put it on Terry, I realize, this kind of meeting is better in a meeting than a week or something like that, but this is the best opportunity to get in here in a quiet here or another place. This is nice because it gives us a good area to play it on, and it's
We're gonna go through
kind of simple. It's in a pretty popular part of town, so there's a lot to do. Like,
Nice chatting with you. Check us out, Ready to Go with Radio. It's good.